Well, what we're about to do right now is my good friend Gabriela is going to hop on with me and tell us a little bit about her experience trading stocks and working on Wall Street, and kind of giving us a general rundown on how we can make money from home playing the stock market. All right. Wall Street University, I think that's her. Let's go. Hey,
How are you, Sean?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Well, that's not true. A week ago we were online, so I just feel like I haven't seen you in so long.
Well, it's been a while, but I'm excited for this. We get to actually just you and I, not the whole crew, talk about Latino Wall Street and everything that you've been doing. I'm excited about it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a one-on-one, right?
Seriously. And I've got some good questions for you, so I'm excited.
Yeah, so I'll start by introducing myself for the people who don't know who I am, have never seen me before. My name is Gabriela Berrospi. I'm known as Gaby Wall Street. That's my other account, but I use it mostly in Spanish. I'm the founder of Latino Wall Street, which is an educational platform that educates and empowers the Latino community to learn about finance, about the stock market. We do it in Spanish. Nobody else is doing it in Spanish. So we've grown pretty fast since we started about a year and a half ago. And I'm also in the Forbes Finance Council, where I have my own column and I write articles about finance in English. So you guys can check that out too.
So let's go back even a little bit further. Let's give people a little bit of background on how we met. Because Gaby, okay, so you guys don't know this. Model trainers was not always a thing. I was not always a one-on-one personal trainer. So back in my New York City days, I was, some of you will remember this, I was a Barry's Boot Camp instructor. And I met Gaby at Barry's Boot Camp. It was actually my very first one-on-one private client ever.
Yeah.
It was like before model trainers, before anything. I think we had the idea for it, but it hadn't become a platform or a company at all. And then we trained, 3 times a week for 2 years?
Yeah, we were training a lot.
Yeah, Gaby was like one of my OG best friends. Like, I love this. And
Yeah.
I met her fiance at a conference that I spoke at in Puerto Rico on social media. And then I go back up to New York and like 6 months passes. She says, Sean, I'm talking to this guy, Anthony. And I said, oh, no way, that's amazing. Shows me a photo. And I'm like, no freaking way. I cannot believe it. I had met this guy in Puerto Rico not knowing that they were connected at all.
That was crazy.
Yeah, and then like you guys, I mean, I went to Wall Street basically teaching the Spanish community how to enter in the stock finance game, and then you and Anthony have dominated like in the last year. I mean, I remember you told me you founded it, and then 6 months later you were telling me all these crazy numbers and all, like the hundreds and thousands of clients that you've had. So yeah,
it went viral pretty quickly.
Certifiable, pardon my language, badass. So we're all really fortunate to have her time right now.
It's been quite the journey, yeah. And we met in New York City. That's where we both used to live. And then it's crazy, right, how life works. And we both left at different times.
Texas and Puerto Rico now.
Yeah.
Table.
Yeah. And then we reunited in Puerto Rico for a Disrupt event. But anyways, yeah, we've been in touch. And it's kind of crazy how things work, that New York City is going through so much. And it's kind of interesting that we both left before that.
You know, honestly, everyone was telling me at the beginning of I said, you're so lucky that you left New York at the time that you did. And now Texas is like the next upcoming hotspot. And it's like, oh, well, actually, I was lucky for like 2 months. And now.
And you guys were doing well. I don't know what happened there. Like,
we reopened like on a Wednesday, just like everything was back to normal and people were back at bars, and like no one likes wearing masks down here. So, you know. Okay, so either way though, we don't have to talk about COVID. Let's talk about stocks. So, yeah, maybe if you want to just kind of give a general like intro into the field, and then I've had a couple of good questions lined up for you, so I'm excited to dive in.
Yeah. So basically for the ones who are new and they look at the stock market as something that's so complicated or so intimidating. First of all, that's most people. And I just want to tell those people that it's not their fault if they feel like it's too hard, it's too complicated, it's too foreign to them, because in regular institutions and schools, we have not been given these tools, right? We have not been given financial education. And I'm not going deep into like options trading. I'm just talking about, you know, diversifying your funds, what to invest, how much to save, emergency funds, right? We don't have this material in the school systems, and that's a huge problem. So what we're trying to do with my movement and my company is transform that, right? We're a stand for our community not having that, but also in general, the school systems all over. I've been privileged to go to like top schools in the world, and they don't provide that either. So it doesn't matter where you go, unless you specialize in this subject, you don't have that education. So basically, the stock market, how it works is you can either invest long-term or short-term, right? You can invest in long-term companies, like in stocks, and just hold. That's the easiest way to invest. You just buy shares and that's it. And the other way is to invest short-term, and that we do through option strategies that are contracts that you do. You can be a buyer, you can be a seller, like in any market, right? The stock market's not any different by that, and that's basically it.
So could you do just like a really general overview of whenever you say trading options and contracts, just because I got to be honest, I had no idea what any of this was until very recently. Like I was involved in, we both invested in Shopify at the same time years ago at like $140 per stock, and then it's like, you know, almost $1,000 now. That was my only strategy, was buy and hold and wait for growth to accumulate over time. So whenever you say buying options and you know, buying and selling options, what is the layman's definition of that? Buying a contract and say, hey, I'm assuming that by 2 weeks from now it will go up by $2. If it does, you make this money. If it doesn't, you lose this money. Is that?
Yeah, so basically, you can either buy or sell options. And what are options? They're simply contracts. And what you do is,
Uh-oh.
so it doesn't go up again. It was, wait, hold on.
Uh-oh.
Earlier, but I don't know what happened. Anyways, so you basically, for options, you have calls and puts, and you can either buy or sell them. Okay, so let's go with buying, right? If you buy a call option, you're basically saying, I'm buying my rights to this specific stock because I think it will go up. And then if you're right, and if it goes up, then you make money. If you're wrong and it doesn't go up, then you lose money unless you do what's called a stop loss, which limits your loss. So let's say you bet $100, you're losing 50, then it gets you out automatically, which is something we always recommend. So that's a call option. If you do a put option, it's the opposite. You're betting, you know what, this stock is going to go down, so I'm going to buy my rights to the stock at this specific price. And if it drops and you're right, then you make money. If it goes the other way and you're wrong, then you lose money, unless obviously you limit that loss. So buying options, I find that most people get started with that because you don't need a lot of money to do it. You can literally start with very little money. I mean, there are options that will cost you like $40, $50. You can, of course, add zeros to that depending on how much money you have. But I think that's something important for people to know, that you don't need a lot of money to trade. You can actually start with very little. But the system and Wall Street, they will always want to make it seem like you need them to invest, you need them to trade. And trust me, I know Wall Street. And most of them, right, I'm not going to say all of them, but most of them don't want you to learn because they just want you to depend on them, right? That's how they make money.
Talking about like a dependency on Wall Street, what are your thoughts on doing all of these trades when you're through, you know, apps and platforms like Ameritrade and you know, what's the other one? Not Sink or Swim, but the one you were telling us about the other day. I haven't set my account up yet. I'm a little bit behind on that. What is it called? It's the one that we were talking to Troy and Topol about. But or as opposed to using like a broker who's going to do investing for you, you think that like any regular person can hop on and teach themselves and manage all of their own trades without having a dependency on someone else?
Well, this is the thing, that what we do is provide education so people learn the right way, the responsible way. And the end goal is for you to be your own boss, right? Obviously, like anything you do in life, you have to learn first. You can't just jump into anything and be like, oh, I'm going to do whatever I want and hope it works out. That would be irresponsible. You want to learn from people who have actual results, actual experience.
Thinker, that's the one. Topol is here. Yeah, I know Topol. I'm sorry, I haven't set my account up. I've been a busy guy, but think or swim, not sink or swim. So
yeah, think or swim. Yeah. So, for example, Robinhood, right? That's a very famous app for beginners. A lot of people use it, and I think that what people need when they get started is actually a demo account, right? To start trading with fake money, because you want to learn how to use the platform. You actually want a real platform, not an app, so you can see the graphs, you can have a bigger picture of the market rather than just try and sort it out with an app with your own money. I would say that's not the best way to learn. The best way to learn is with an actual platform and in demo if you've never in your life traded. And again, investing in stocks and trading are two different things, right? Anyone can just buy shares and hold. That's like the easiest concept to grasp. You just buy and hold. And that's proven throughout history to be the best way to create wealth, because you can make money trading, of course, but you can also lose money trading. There's risky options, there's conservative options. We didn't talk about selling options, we talk about buying options. But at the end of the day, what's going to create actual wealth is holding those shares that are proven to go up throughout the years. Like, for example, Shopify, right?
Dividends. Yeah, no, exactly. Okay, I've got two questions, and these are pretty vague, open-ended. One of them less so. So I'm going to start with the ones a little more pinpoint. So you're talking about buying puts and stops, basically to limit your risk aversion. Your risk aversion, right?
Yeah.
So you had told me the other day that you only buy a put when you have over 100 stocks in a certain company. If you have less than that, is it just something that you wouldn't recommend because this insurance policy per se is going to weigh out, it's going to cost too much for the benefit that you would gain on protecting less than 100 shares?
Yeah, so let me explain that a little bit for people who maybe don't understand what that is. I like to use the metaphor of a health insurance. Buying a put for a stock or an index is basically like buying health insurance for a human, saying, you know what, I think I'm going to get sick at some point. I really do. Like, maybe not right in this second, but I think it's very high probability I'm going to get sick at some point. So I buy health insurance and I pay every month. And if I never use it, then I guess I lost money because I never benefited from those services. So buying a put is the equivalent of buying insurance for a specific stock or index. That's a group of stocks. And if it goes down, then you have benefits. You make money. If it doesn't, then you were wrong. And I guess it would be like losing. It's simply buying peace of mind, right? Like, I don't think of my health insurance as I'm losing money because I'm not going to the doctor. I think of it as if something happens, then I'm really going to have those benefits. So I was sharing my strategy, Sean, when I said that whenever I have 100 shares of a company, I do buy a put. I buy one contract. Why? Because an option is equivalent to 100 shares. So if I have 100 shares, I'll automatically protect those shares with a put option. What does that mean? That I make money with any angle, right? Every angle. So for example, if the stocks go up because the market's going up, then that investment benefits. But if they go down, that same company, I have a put option. So if it goes down, I make money. If it goes up, I make money from my shares. So that way I balance my portfolio and I'm always making money. Now, what happens when the put options expire, right? They expire. You can either renew them, okay? There's something called the renewal terms that you can just renew. You have to pay more money, obviously, or you can let it expire worthless. And that's, again, when you lose money, quote unquote. So that's my strategy. I'm not saying everyone should do my strategy. Some people never have 100 shares of anything and they simply buy put options, making bets that something's going to go down. You don't need shares to
Got it.
buy insurance on
Okay.
the shares.
Where that had come from? That's just your particular your method.
That's my strategy. Yeah, because I normally have big amounts of shares and stuff like that. But some people I traded with, teenagers literally, who are just getting started. They only have a couple hundred, couple thousand, and they literally never own 100 shares of anything. They just buy put options and that's it.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. So then here's the follow-up question, and I guess I'm kind of trying to keep it onto keep the conversation on a level of entire Green Guild beginner, because I mean, honestly, I'm not far above that. Let's say you had $10,000 or 2,000 or 1,000 or 500, but let's, for the sake of this example, go $10,000 that you wanted to invest. What would be your recommendation to someone just getting started? Is this like, I know you were saying get a dummy account on Thinkorswim with graphs that we can go play and trade some fake money. And I know that you're about to launch your own English speaking class here on July 4th? Is that right?
July 4th.
Yes. 133 of you. Gaby is her own English speaking program on July 4th. Let me just hype this up for a second. Like, there's a reason that Latino Wall Street had all of this massive international success that it has, and that she's featured in Yahoo Finance and has her own column in Forbes. If you're a loser and you're a fake and a phony, you don't get those accolades, right? So like this is not her. But on July, she's releasing her own English speaking program. So if you're looking to learn, that would be a great resource. But let's go ahead and say you got $10,000, you want to invest it, you want to start getting into it. I was always told growing up that you want to, just following the advice of my sage advisors and the Oracle of Omaha, Warren Buffett, low risk index funds, and you just want to invest in Vanguard, basically. Like, all your money goes into Vanguard. Don't even think about anything else, because you're not going to beat the market. Like, you just want to invest in companies that are going to grow at the same, same rate as the United States stock market, which over time has always increased in size. So by the time you're 65, you have a couple $1 million to fall back on.
Yeah.
Is like, let's say you got $10,000. That's the least risky, most long-term play you could really opt for. What are your thoughts on that? Would you split it up 5 and 5 and go 5 a little bit riskier? Like, what would you recommend to someone just starting out that's never invested?
Who has 10,000? Was that the scenario?
Yeah, let's say you got $10,000. Also, I just pinned a comment for Wall Street University, so go click on that, and that'll take you over to their Instagram page so that you can start to get reminders for the program release on the 4th of July.
Cool. I don't know why my chat froze. I think it's my connection. I couldn't see that. But yeah, so if you have 10,000, this is what I want to, I want people to have this very clear. I would need to know how old this person is, actually the personality of this person. Are they more conservative? Are they more aggressive? Are they, super young? Like, you kind of need to know more details to give guidance about what you could possibly do with 10,000, because everyone's different, right? And everyone's situation is different. But let's just say in general terms, you're a young person in your 20s, you have 10,000, and you want to make the money work for you, right? You don't want your money to just sit at the bank, make 0.01%. It's insane. So if you are very focused on your future, which I would hope you are if you're a young person. I personally am very focused on my future. That's why I'm more of a long-term investor. Again, it's my age, my situation, right? Then I'm going to focus more on long-term investments. If
you're first, go to the casino and put it all on black on the roulette table.
That's something we wouldn't do.
Okay. So if you're not as young and maybe not as focused on the long term, I'll just
yeah. So if you're not focused on long term and you just want to see money, that's a lot of young people. They're very not focused on long term, and they just want to see results right away. So then with 10,000, what I would personally do, right, is I would start selling options. And what does that mean, selling? It means that as a seller, you receive money, you receive premiums instead of paying them. We were talking about buying options. That's when you pay. Selling is when you receive the premium, and it's more conservative in my opinion. However, you need more money because you do need the 100 shares or the backup for the 100 shares, depending on what strategy you're doing. Now we can get into crazy stuff like what's called naked puts, where you actually don't need the backup, you're just collecting pre. But it's so risky and so advanced that I wouldn't even go over that if we're, educating people who are just getting started.
Okay, got it. So, yeah, I mean, basically, like, I think I'm starting to understand, based on our previous conversation, kind of like average PE ratios and figuring out when a stock is a good option to buy, when it's overvalued, making sure to check out the balance sheet. But really, I think the balance sheet was the one that we had talked about, but then you can go in and look at pretty much all of their financial documents.
Yeah.
And basically, you had also mentioned, this was the interesting thing to me, that you have your stock, you always have 10% of your portfolio invested in gold because you want to be diversified. If stock goes down, gold goes up, and vice versa. So
yeah. So gold investments, they're one of the oldest investments out there, most old-fashioned. If you speak to a very old person, like literally like 80s, 90s, most likely that person has been investing in gold. It's just one of those investments that's considered safe, not as volatile. So what happens with gold is very interesting. First of all, you can invest on gold through the stock market. You don't have to literally buy gold. That's a way of doing it. But through the stock market, you can literally buy shares of gold, right? So it's pretty cool. And there's a few that I like. And how it works is that historically, if you study the price movements, when the stock market goes down like it did on March 23rd, gold goes up. Now there are some exceptions, and this year was kind of crazy, it was all over the place. But if you take a close look at what has happened historically and statistically, as stocks drop, gold tends to go up because it's like a safe haven. Like that just means the investors are cashing out, getting out of the stocks. They're scared, something's going on. And where are they going to put that money? A lot of them put it on gold, and that's shown with actual numbers and investments. And that's why I've always had like at least 10% of my portfolio.
And so I guess, I know you've got your platform releasing here in 6 or 7 days, whatever it is. What other resources would you recommend someone to be reading into or utilizing to learn? Or maybe you're going to tell me that, hey, my platform is going to have everything inclusive and like that's the best place to go. And I'm going to say that's a totally cool answer. But I want to know, what should I be studying? What books should I be reading? Who should I be following? What social media accounts? Everyone's on Instagram. Is there like a hub that you would recommend people go to be getting information?
Yeah, so I'm going to go by the things that have worked for me, right? So
anybody that's listening, you guys feel free to drop some questions in here. You've got, I was going to say us, you've got Gaby right here at your, like one message away. We are like absolutely going to be engaged. So any questions, drop below and we're here to answer.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. So books in English, my favorite ones are Understanding Stocks by Michael Sincere and Understanding Options. They're two different books by the same author. He's amazing. He's basically my favorite author about stock trading in English. Why? Because he makes it so simple. He comes out with all these metaphors from real life that we can all relate.
What was it? Like what?
Michael Sincere. So you spell it, I think it's Sincere. Yeah, Michael Sincere.
Awesome.
So any book he writes, but specifically Understanding Stocks and Understanding Options. One's about stocks, one's about options. He explains it in such an easy way with fun examples and real life metaphors. So it won't be boring. It's not complicated. And I think we need more people like that who explain things in a light way so that we can all learn instead of getting scared about a complicated subject.
Awesome. And do you have any I know, so Latino Wall Street, you've got a whole team of traders and educators now. How many do you have? I think I only know really you, Karina. I don't, Leon, but I don't know that he's actually I don't know what he's doing for Latino Wall Street really. And then Alexa. So I know 4 of them. How many do you have on your team right now?
So we have a team of 50 people. Everyone has different responsibilities. Yeah, we have a lot of students, so we of course need a big team. Um, Alexandra, she's a coach. We also have Brandy and Daniela. They're a couple. They're coaches. We also have coaches who are, getting trained to teach and whatnot. We have virtual assistants, customer service, technical support. We have a team of champions, we call them, who are like the official ambassadors for the movement in different countries. So we have a lot of people who help us. But yeah, you've met. So Alexandra, she actually, it's a coach, meaning she leads classes and she has her own seminars, and she's teaching more advanced stuff now, like things like times and sales, how to follow the smart money, like where are the hedge funds investing, and you do that through something called times and sales in level 2, where you actually track where all these billions of dollars are going. So it's like fascinating stuff, but obviously you can't learn that right away if you're at step 0. You have to go step by step.
Yeah. And so what are your thoughts on crypto and like cyber currencies? Do you have any, I mean, I know this is just like a big kind of trigger topic. I think everyone's a little bit of interest surrounding that. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I would say you have to be careful if you invest in cryptocurrencies, because it's extremely risky. Okay, I'll share with you something someone I admire a lot said about cryptocurrency. He said there are no experts in crypto because it's not been around long enough. So you can call someone an expert who's been doing it for like a couple of years, okay? So there are literally no experts in cryptocurrencies. It's too new, which means it's a high risk. There's also not a lot of history to study, right? So when I study stocks, I can really see the company, how it's been doing for the last decade or so. I can't do that with cryptocurrency. It's not regulated. So it's a risky investment. I'm not saying it's not worth it. I've made a lot of money in cryptocurrency. However, I've only invested the amount of money that I was okay if I completely lost it. Okay, yeah. There's been a lot of scams in cryptocurrencies, like actual coins that were not coins. It was just literally like made up and people selling that. So you have to be careful. As I always say, how you know something is not a scam, how something's real, it's that real organizations are backing them, right? So for example, when I share with people and why people trust me so much is because when you have organizations like New York Stock Exchange backing me and my company and my movement and Forbes, then obviously these organizations are not just going to go out and support anyone. They're only going to support the real deal. So I would say that's the key.
Here we go. I've got someone asking, Gabby, what are your take on airlines, hotels, and cruise ship stocks lately? And then someone else earlier asked, do you regret maybe not putting money into the Gap after they just had their merger with Kanye West and Yeezy? And I think they took a 30% increase on Friday alone. They saw like 30% jump. So what are your thoughts on the Gap, cruise ships, airlines, and hotels?
So good questions. And by the way, guys, I can't see any questions. I don't know why my chat froze and I literally can't see anything. So you'll tell me and I'll answer. So cruise ships and airlines, extremely risky. I was in Warren Buffett's annual conference. I was supposed to be there in person, and it was the first virtual one in history. Basically, all of his investors, we go once a year, and we learn from him about...
Early May?
Yeah.
I was supposed to go to that in Omaha. I didn't realize it was an online version. I was supposed to go with Patrick Tucker from...
Yeah, I know him.
No, I met him at Disrupt. I'm a part of his little mastermind group. I meet with him every other week.
That's crazy. Anthony was going to speak there.
Out there.
Yeah, we were. Oh my God, that would have been so fun if we all went. I had my tickets bought, the hotel reserved. We had everything, and it got canceled like a month in advance.
We end up meeting up in like New York City, Puerto Rico, Omaha,
yeah.
like London. We're gonna be everywhere. We're gonna see each other all over the world.
All over. I love it. That's so funny.
Oh, okay. So airlines, though, what did he say about that at his investor meeting?
Yeah, because I always like to bring like actual, leaders in the industry. So Warren Buffett, he's been investing for literally almost 100 years. He's 90 or something, and he started when he was 11. So we have to pay attention, right, to these people. He said that he was a big investor in airlines, and he had to get out and had huge positions, literally billions of dollars, and he lost billions of dollars because of what happened with coronavirus. Now, what's interesting is that he always preaches long-term investment. He says he's a billionaire because he holds stocks. You know how we traded Shopify, like we got in, after a few months we got out. People say, hell no, just hold it for as long as possible. And history has shown that he's right, okay? If you're in the right companies. But here's the thing. He said that airlines are not a good investment anymore. Okay, then people are asking, what made you change your mind? And he said, times have changed since this virus happened. We cannot look at airlines or invest in airlines the way we used to, right? And he believes that industry, even if we go 100% back, he doesn't think they're gonna recover back to what they were. And if they are, it's gonna take a very long time. And he's 90, so he's not trying to be stuck in like red numbers, right? With billions of dollars. That's crazy. That's a huge
Also, this man, because he's the same guy that like drinks his Coke and eats at the same McDonald's and has lived in the same house since 1972. So, like, it's not like he's out here like living it up. Like
he's very old-fashioned, yeah. So Warren Buffett basically said, and I agree with him, that times have changed, that airlines are going to take a very long time to recover. It doesn't mean they're not going to recover. Look, the government is helping them and all that stuff, but it's just about the consumer, right? We have to understand the consumer point of view. And even if we are 100%, back to 100%, we think the consumer is not going to be willing to travel as it used to. Even if everything's open, all borders, I just don't see it happening. So we have to study the markets and the industry for anything. Same thing with cruises. A lot of people got into cruises, and I understand the mentality of people think, oh, it dropped, oh, I'm gonna get in at the lowest point. But you really have to study the industry, and there are some industries that have been so deeply impacted and affected, and we don't see them recovering anytime soon.
So let's talk then. Saying, you know, you've got to study the industries, go back, check on Yahoo, check all their financial reports. How many years are you looking back whenever you determine your stock is a promising option? Are you looking back 3 years, 5 years? I know you were saying you can look back 25 years. That's irrelevant. 25 years ago, what's the threshold for 10 years? Okay, that's where I'm putting my stopper, and then anything before that, there's anything newer than that timeline to gauge it, you know, trend lines.
It's always interesting too, because when I teach people how to do the analysis for a company, they always ask me, well, what should I study? And I tell them, well, it depends what you're trying to do, right? If you're trying to trade, get in and out, then you better do technical analysis, because that's what you need. But if you are studying a company to be in the long term, like Warren Buffett recommends, to build wealth, to create wealth, to invest in your future and just hold it and have your money work for you throughout the years, then you really want to look at the fundamentals, right? That's the base. So I say the most relevant years are the last 5 years, okay? We can study, of course, we can see the graph the last 20 years. I don't think it's very relevant what happened 20 years ago, but I think it's very relevant the growth that a company has had in the last 5. And also you want to look at the last few quarters to see if they've been consistent. I just want to put my money in companies that are making more and more money each time, and that they have that solid foundation for me to invest in.
Got it. So someone here, I know you can't see comments, said, do you like ETFs? I recently bought GDX Gold Mining Index.
I do like ETFs. I do invest in them. I've also had GDX, GLD as well. So yeah, you can invest in a bunch of different things. You know, there's gold mines, there's gold trusts, there's different variations of what you can invest specifically in gold. But for me, it's always been smart. I've always invested in gold, always, since I was very young. I've had like actual literal gold, but through the stock market, anyone, and just as an example, GDX is trading at $35. You can literally, anyone can invest in gold. It's just $35 a share. You don't need 100 shares. We're not talking options. We're talking shares and stocks. So that's something that I want people to know, that you don't have to wait until you have all this crazy money to start investing. I have teenagers who start with 1 share, then 10 shares. Then...
For anyone that doesn't know, the ETF stands for an exchange traded fund, which is basically like a basket of different like stocks and securities you buy at once, and then you buy them through a brokerage, or you were saying like on your own through platforms like Thinkorswim or Ameritrade. And so basically, like you're balancing out your risk because you have multiple stocks together, kind of tied into a bundle. Is that?
Yeah.
Don't take my word for the definition. I need you to correct me here, but is that the gist of an ETF?
Yeah, so basically there's an index and there's an ETF, and a lot of people complicate both things. An index would be like the S&P 500, and then you have its ETF, that's the SPY, that replicates that index. So it's not, so an index is just a group of stocks, for example, and the S&P 500's ETF is the SPY, which is like a mirror for it, okay? So the difference is that an ETF, you can buy it as if it was a share, okay? And it's a very diversified share, because it's not just buying a share of Apple, you're buying a share of different things. In the case of the SPY represents the S&P 500, we like the 500 different companies. So it would be like buying like a fractional piece of that, okay? So it's diversified. It's considered more conservative because you're not putting all your money in one company. You're diversifying. Now with different things like the GDX and stuff, you also have an ETF for that. So basically what it means is that you are investing in gold, and that you can do as if it was a share. So it's not literally a share, it's an ETF, but you can buy and sell it as if it was a share.
Got it. Okay. Well, I think I've just got a hell of a lot of videos to go watch and books to read. I'm a little behind. I've been focused on my own businesses right now, but stocks coming up now. I'm trying to accrue my money, and then I'm gonna get. Right now, it's like I gotta get my pile before I can invest it. But do you have anything else kind of like that's pressing on your mind? I'm so ignorant. I don't even know what questions to ask right now. I have like enough on my plate to tackle.
Well, I think you are a very good example of someone who maybe hasn't done too much studying in this subject, yet you've had a good result, right? Like, it's crazy how like
I made a lot of money on Shopify. Like, I sold out far too early, but I needed the money. I sold out, and I made like
good. So it's a good example that you don't need crazy experience to make money, okay? You can literally just buy shares and hold them and sell them whenever you want, because you are the shareholder, so you choose when to sell them. There's no contract like in options about, oh, this date. No, buy a share, you're a shareholder whenever you want. The next day or in 20 years, you sell. So it's pretty good to have that. I like to think of it as you own property. It's like your house, you know. You can wake up the next day and sell it if you want, or you can keep it. Probably the smartest thing is to keep it for a while, so you actually create some wealth from it. So yeah, basically that's it. I'm very proud that for our launch on July 4th, we're gonna have the top traders in Wall Street. One of them is called the Einstein of Wall Street, Peter Tuchman. You guys can go and Google him right now. Number one.
Yeah, I've seen the photos. I know who he is. Like,
so I'm very, very excited because
shot by a lightning bolt. Like, I love it.
He literally looks like Einstein, but well, they call him that for a reason, right? Because literally he's been on the stock exchange for like almost 40 years. Nobody's more experienced than him. He's been through it all, and the knowledge and wisdom he brings it's really a privilege to have him on board. And also David Green, who's a former market maker. For the ones who don't know what that is basically the person in the New York Stock Exchange who moves the markets, because they're trading with so much money. So just imagine having these types of insiders sharing their knowledge. July 4th is free. Anyone can join. You can come in, learn. It's all in English, right? It's our very first time launching an English. So we only stick with the best. So that's why we're collaborating with them. And yeah, I'm very excited. It's disruptwallstreet.com. You guys can go there and opt in.
You'll be posting all of that through Wall Street University. Is that all linked on the page?
Yeah. I believe
I've tagged that or pinned that comment down here. So it says follow Wall Street University to learn trading in English. Go click on that. I'm sure they've got the website link. They'll be posting tons of content leading up to their release in, I think, 7 days now. Oh, it's at 8 days now. So it's coming up quick. Yeah, make sure you guys tune into that because like Gabby's saying, they've got some really incredible people to like just fill your brains with overload information and then we can all be millionaires and meet up in Cabo together and it's going to be awesome. All 103 of us.
Yeah, seriously. It's an honor to always be, collaborating and making partnerships and innovate. It's about innovation at the end of the day, right? Because you can always stick where you are, and that's for anyone watching. You can just stick doing what you're doing, and that's great. I'm not saying that's wrong, but what if you could go and discover something new and the results you could have? It's never going to hurt to learn a new skill, to be more educated, to be able to join these types of conversations. I think it's more than just about the money, it's your self-esteem, your intellectual, abilities. It improves everything overall. So I really recommend it to everyone.
Awesome. Well, Gabby, thank you so much for your time. Before we go, you are I still look at you and I think you're still my personal training client. So have you been working out recently? What's the deal? Do you need me to FaceTime tell you to get your push-ups?
So I had an in-person personal trainer, and then the virus thing happened here in Puerto Rico, right? And she couldn't come. She was like, I literally can't go see you. And I was like, okay. So I had no trainer. So then I was doing some online training sessions. I was actually doing the Barry's Bootcamp online. I'm like such a fan. So loyal. The Barry's at Home thing with like Joey and all those guys. And then I had some sessions with Allegra too that she was doing online. But yeah, I'm basically doing what I can. I'm not like 5 days a week like I used to be in New York, but every other day or something.
You're staying on top of it. All right. I got to check in on you, make sure you're being held accountable.
Yeah. So it's
fourth then. We will be there. And guys, I'll be posting up on this, like leading up into this launch. I want to promote Gaby. She is like super near to my heart. So I'm seeing a lot of this on my page leading up to 4th of July. So make sure if you're interested, this is the opportunity that you've been waiting for right now.
Yay. Thank you so much, Sean, for your time and for your support and for everyone who joined. Feel free to reach out with any questions you have.
Awesome. And I'm going to go ahead, and I don't know that you were going to have the opportunity for this, but I'll make sure to save it and add it to my IGTV so that anyone that wants to do this can see it on my page. I don't know if you can add it to yours, but
I could probably repost it on the story so people go to the recording.
Awesome. All right. Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good night. Bye.